On February 24, 2022, the Russia-Ukraine war officially broke out, marking a major shift in the global geopolitical landscape. Putin's mindset also changed as a result. At the start of the war, Russia tried to end the conflict with a swift military campaign, but Ukraine's resistance far exceeded expectations. Kiev was not quickly captured, and the front lines in Donbass became deadlocked. By the end of 2022, Russian forces had suffered heavy losses, and the economy was under tremendous pressure due to Western sanctions. The United States froze the Russian central bank's overseas assets, the European Union excluded it from the SWIFT system, and energy exports took a heavy hit. Russia's economy faced extremely severe difficulties, with the ruble's exchange rate fluctuating wildly, nearly halving in value. Oil and natural gas exports, the backbone of Russia's economy, were further strictly restricted by European countries. In 2023, Russia's GDP growth was only 1.2%, while the inflation rate exceeded 7%. Under these circumstances, Putin had no choice but to turn his attention to Asia, especially China. Starting in April 2022, China began importing large quantities of Russian oil, and by 2023, it had signed long-term natural gas supply contracts, providing support for Russia's economy. In terms of diplomacy, China also offered Russia considerable assistance. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov publicly thanked China for maintaining a neutral stance during an interview with Xinhua news agency. At the same time, there was also a breakthrough regarding the construction of the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan Railway. This railway was first proposed in 1997, connecting Kashgar in Xinjiang, Karasu in Kyrgyzstan, and ultimately reaching Andijan in Uzbekistan, with a total length of 523 kilometers. For China, this railway is an important part of the Belt and Road Initiative, enabling faster transportation of goods to Europe while also promoting the economic development of Xinjiang. Kyrgyzstan is even more eager for this project, as the country only has 427 kilometers of railway, and all international freight transport relies entirely on this line. If the railway is completed, its annual transit capacity could reach 15 to 20 million tons, and the transit fees would bring Kyrgyzstan an income of $200 million. However, Russia has long opposed the project, fearing that China's influence would become too great. Kyrgyzstan's domestic political situation has been unstable, with frequent changes in government, causing the railway construction plans to be repeatedly put on hold. Nevertheless, China has never given up on this project and has continued to pay close attention to it. On May 16, 2024, during Putin's visit to Beijing, a statement was signed to deepen cooperation on the Belt and Road Initiative, signaling a clear softening of his stance. On May 30, 2025, Kyrgyzstan's President Japarov publicly stated that Putin had made it clear during a phone call that Russia would no longer oppose the railway project. Western sanctions have made it impossible for Russia to continue relying on the European market, so shifting toward Asia has become an inevitable choice. Putin realized that continuing to obstruct this railway would not only offend China, but could also leave Russia even more isolated. On top of that, with the war dragging on and military spending accounting for 6% of GDP, the domestic economic pressure is immense, and Putin needs to seek more support. In addition, allowing the railway project to proceed also carries significant geopolitical considerations. The Russia-Ukraine war has led to a complete breakdown in relations between Russia and the West, forcing Putin to seek new allies. Central Asia is within China's sphere of influence, but at the same time, it is also Russia's weak spot. By supporting the construction of the railway, the relationship between China and Russia can be further strengthened. On June 6, 2024, China, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan signed an intergovernmental agreement on the railway in Beijing, marking the official launch of the project. In this process, Putin has finally let go of a grudge he held for over 20 years. After the signing of the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan Railway Agreement, the project quickly moved into the implementation phase. In June 2025, construction teams began surveying the route in the mountains of Kyrgyzstan, with plans to complete the railway within 3 years. Among them, the 260-kilometer section within Kyrgyzstan is the core of the entire project. Once completed, it will double the country's railway network and significantly boost its freight capacity. At the same time, the Andijan railway station in Uzbekistan also began expansion to accommodate more goods coming from China. The economic benefits of railway construction are quite considerable. Kyrgyzstan can earn $200 million annually from transit fees, which is equivalent to 20% of its GDP. This railway will shorten the logistics time between Central Asia and Europe by 1/3. On June 15, 2025, the China Central Asia International Tourist Train departed from Xi'an and headed straight to Almaty, with all the scenic spots along the way branded with the Belt and Road label. The Kashgar Logistics Center in Xinjiang is also developing rapidly, becoming a new engine for the Western economy, with hundreds of trucks coming and going every day. From a geopolitical perspective, the construction of this railway has a profound impact on Central Asia. According to reports from the Russian Sputnik news agency, China has already become Central Asia's largest trading partner, and 80% of China-Europe freight trains must pass through Central Asia. Now, countries like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan have a trade volume with China that has surpassed their trade with Russia. The railway has also opened up new energy corridors, allowing Central Asian oil and natural gas to be transported to China more quickly, reducing reliance on Russian pipelines. Although the stalemate in the Russia-Ukraine war continues, and Trump suspended military aid to Ukraine after taking office, giving Russia a slight advantage on the battlefield, the economic pressure has not eased. Putin's plan is to use the railway project to gain China's support, to keep holding out, and to secure more bargaining chips in future negotiations. The China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan Railway is not just an ordinary railway, it is a key point in the Belt and Road Initiative. The landscape of Central Asia has undergone profound changes